Welcome, I am Jazz, and this is No Veil Recovery, and this is Adam.
Hello.
Welcome, and on this episode, we are talking about, and on this whole channel, is mostly to talk about like recovery and from addiction of all types and kinds. And Adam here is a recovering active alcoholic, and so am I. I've got 5 years. How many years do you have?
Well, I will be 7 years, hopefully, if everything goes well, in August. So,
What day?
August 16th.
August 16th.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So in recovery, we call that that's like your clean day, your sober day.
Yep.
Your other birthday.
Yeah.
Essentially.
It's my sobriety recovery birthday.
Yeah.
And it's very important to remember that, and celebrating those sober birthdays is something that really shows the newcomers in the program that they can get sober too. It's it's kind of it's not only are you celebrating your achievement, but it's to show other people that it works, right?
Yeah, so true. I love birthdays, and I love they're so important in like your first year. Like I remember in my first year of recovery, I was so excited to get to like my first month chip and my second month chip, because there's so much pain and loss in the beginning. It just kind of, like I know for me, it just helped me go along a bit. There's something to look forward to. It gave me permission to look forward to something. I needed something.
Yeah.
And so my clean day is April 10th, 2021. Yeah. My 2020 was the great fall for me. So yeah, anyways, we're not here to talk about birthdays the whole time though. So this is part 2 of, so the last episode, we talked about a whole bunch of recovery stuff. And then we left off, we got kind of cut off at, you were sharing, it was kind of something about the small things, like sharing like even the moments that matter when you're really changing those neuro pathways. Like in the moments, there's a chance to do different. And you were like, you kind of ended with talking to someone in the grocery line and the clerk where like, oh, hey, how are you doing? And then that person, ask you how you're doing, and you could just slump it off, but then you were saying like what you could do.
Yeah. So, the cashier, let's say, says, hey, how you doing? Or how's your day going? In active addiction, I would probably just say good, which, whatever. But to kind of an exercise to try to change those pathways is to say something like, if they ask you how you're doing, you say, good, how about you? A lot of times you'll hear them say back, oh, thanks for asking, because they don't get asked that question a lot. I mean, it seems so like such an insignificant thing, but once you start doing that over and over again, it's not only is it making them feel, important and heard, but, you're being positive. And, you're at a drive-through and someone, asks you how you're doing, before they take your order, and, you could say, good, how about you? And then, how often do you hear, oh, thanks for asking? It's just a little tiny thing that can help you develop a more positive way of thinking. And then, another thing I would suggest people trying to do, and I mean, this is something that's kind of hard, but I try and catch myself. If your friend beside you says, oh, I really love that car, he's pointing a car on the road, instead of being like, oh, that car's dumb. I don't like that car. You're just kind of like stepping over his
raining on his parade.
Exactly. And so, just be happy for that person that he likes that car. It's, it's the old saying, the cliche of, if you have nothing good to say, don't say anything at all,
Right. And that does stand the test of time. And we've both tried it. A lot of everyone's heard that one. And the thing is that it's a chance to change. It's small enough to do something about it. It's attainable. And all those little things, they do something to the brain. They help build the self-esteem. But it's it's like a bridge to connection. It's like for a second, there's me and there's a person over there in the grocery line. That person is saying, I like that green car. It's like an opportunity to be like, to help my brain change from addiction to recovery. I have that opportunity to just be like, I could say this. I could, I could have empathy. I could care.
Yeah.
Right. I could start trying to care. Right. And that nurtures my own soul.
Yeah. I think it can be overwhelming when people, when they put down the bottle and they're kind of trying to follow, the AA program or whatever program it is. And it can be overwhelming to say like, okay, I got to be this positive, good person now. And I mean, you might be imagining like, you're trying to save the world and you're trying to like save this person or that person, or you got to go clean up, the highway, like these big things. And it's like, no, just start with the small little attainable goals, because, and that's why we say one day at a time. I don't know if I'm going to drink again, but I know that today I'm not going to, it's one day at a time, because to look into the future and go, I'm never going to drink again. I mean, that can be overwhelming and daunting. And that's why the one day at a time, even if it's, when you're new, it could be 1 hour at a time, right? It's just really important to make small, accomplishable goals.
Yeah, I love that. So true. The small things, right?
Yeah.
And it makes a difference because it's, and another thing you were just talking about earlier was like when someone was like at the center and they were talking about like how they really were excited about spaghetti. Spaghetti, I love spaghetti.
Yeah.
But then some guy just pipes up and goes like, I hate spaghetti. It's just like, it's unnecessary, right?
Yeah, it's just another little, ray of negative energy that just gets thrown out there for no reason at all. Like if you don't like spaghetti, whatever, if you do, great, but you don't have to, shove it in someone's face about how much you dislike something.
How much you don't like that. Like, yeah, you can hold that in. And change, I find, change happens a lot in those small moments. Like, I used to be a person that could not stand being in a lineup.
Yeah.
And then I found, and this is early recovery. And so it's like the awareness will show up first. So I was like, I'm just like vibrating, and I'm noticing I'm vibrating every time I go into a grocery line and there's a lineup. And so I was like, hey, like I'm in early recovery. I'm like, I feel frustrated. Like, what do I do about it? And what I started to do was I started to pray. And I just started to like pray or meditate or think of something. And it completely changed like that big ball of negative energy that I was having every time I was going to a grocery line. And in that, I don't feel like that anymore because something has been resolved or something or changed, right? And that's just a very small thing, a small moment. It doesn't matter, but it was wrecking my peace. And I think sometimes the biggest misbelief is thinking we can't change something like, the lineups are never going to change, but how I am in lineups can change.
Exactly. And, I mean, you're busy, you got kids, you're working. I got kids, I'm working. Like life is busy, and those little things like the grocery line where you get a chance to pray and meditate, like that's great. It's like I actually, if I got to go to the doctor's office for whatever reason, and I know I'm gonna wait a while. It's like, okay, I can get some of my meditation for the day done. It's like I'm being very tactical with how I get in touch with my higher power, because sometimes at night, and once you get the kids down, it's like you don't have the energy, but that's why during those moments where you do have, and being a parent, what it's like. It's like just having 5 minutes sometimes is like,
I'm grateful.
It's so grateful that, like, oh man.
Yeah, or even like doing like a quick gratitude list in the grocery line, like say it's red lights, like whatever the irritation is, you can put something in its place and have that ready, like Like have that ready to go for that irritation, and it can actually change your life. Like things like that help change your life. And it isn't, I'm going to go do a bunch of service and do 12 steps in 2 months. Like that doesn't change your life. Like I think that can put pressure on things. And it's, yeah, like you say, start small. Like start as small as possible. You know?
Well, and don't forget, like in that grocery lineup, everyone else is in the lineup. Do you think they like it? Like it's not only about you, you know?
Yeah.
Like the guy behind you has to wait even longer.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Now I'm jealous of the person in front of me.
Yeah, it's like, you know, so just, you know, have some gratitude that you're not behind yourself and you're waiting longer. That makes any sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So like in the last episode, it was like, you know, recovery is like in everything, right? It's when people aren't looking. It's when, you know, because you were bringing that up last time, like it's your recovery goes with you everywhere. And it's not just like you go to a meeting and you're a good person and that's your recovery.
Yeah.
It's like, does it trickle out into your family, into your relationship, into everything else? Like how you treat those people in the grocery line, the clerks, right? Like how you treat those people on the phone.
Yeah.
Like I find those are big signs of where my recovery's at. And because it's like those pain points show up. Yeah. And where those pain points show up is where there's like, that's my trigger. And that's where there's some healing to be done. Right. You know, and it's almost like a gift because it's not easy to find some of these things sometimes.
No. And, you know, when you're in a meeting, you know, it's, put everything into it, be a good person, but it's easy to do that there. You know, like the real life is the challenge. So, you know, you talk the talk in the meeting, but you got to walk the talk when you get out of there. And, you know.
Yeah, true that.
You know, and take everything you hear in those meetings and apply it to what you do out there. You know, when I came to you know, treatment and Alcoholics Anonymous, I just wanted to quit drinking. You know, I didn't realize that quitting drinking was like just step one of the 12 steps, you know, just recognizing that I'm an alcoholic and that, you know, I can't manage my life. That's the only step one that mentions alcohol. The rest of the steps are all about just, you know, living a meaningful life where you can be of service to others and, you know, you can live in spiritual principles, right? So, the program is really like putting down the bottle is the easy part. Putting down the drugs is the easy part, you know. But you and I, you know, we weren't born necessarily with that blueprint in our heads of how to live life properly. You know,
right?
Like once we found drugs and alcohol, that's when all of a sudden it's like, oh, this makes sense. The world is great now. I can feel this way. I can feel that way, and I don't have to feel the terrible way I've been feeling.
Right.
And that only works for so long.
Right. And it's like gives you that sense of control, right? Like a higher power. Like I have the alcohol, so if I don't want to feel something or avoid something, I can use this to escape that.
Exactly.
And it's available.
You know, and it feels like this freeing thing, but eventually you become a prisoner to it.
Yeah.
And you know, you just, I mean, it can kill you. That's the honest truth. I mean, it's you know, there's people that can have a drink. You know, I can't.
Yeah.
I mean, I can, but
I can't. Risk.
I can't control what's going to happen afterwards. You know.
Yeah.
You know. So.
Can I add to that? Like, and like you can't wind it back. No. You know what I mean? No. Like addiction goes like it gets really far and deep, and then you can never be like, oh, I'll just be that person that drinks 5 a night.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a saying that like you start drinking back where you left off, and that couldn't be more true for me.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And I mean,
that's what kills you.
Yeah.
Or can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, relapse is not a part of my story.
Right.
But I know it's always there. Like it's waiting for me, right? You know, I can't get overconfident. I can't get complacent. You know, when I'm feeling really good, that's when I know I need a meeting the most. Because that my disease can creep up there and just say, hey, you don't need to go to meetings anymore. You know, you don't need to connect with other alcoholics and addicts. Like, you're doing fine on your own, man. Like, don't worry about it. But
it's like that same like antidepressant thinking. You know, when people go off their antidepressants, they're like, I'm good. You know, it's almost like with like recovery, you can be like, I'm good, and things so great. I can just go back.
Yeah, and you know,
can manage it.
Yeah, and we can't. And I think I know I'm in a place right now in my recovery where even if I could successfully drink again, like, you know, if I could only have, you know, a glass of wine with dinner, or I, you know, could maybe just have like a 6-pack of beer at a party, like, I don't even want to, you know, like, it doesn't interest me. It wouldn't do to have one drink. Doesn't do what I want it to do. Let's put it that way, you know. So, you know, for me, it's just like, even if there was a magic pill that I could take that would, you know, cure everything and I wouldn't be an alcoholic anymore, I would probably just take too many of those pills. You know, that's the way my mind works, right? Yeah. You know, like, so I'm pretty sure that this is the right way for me to live my life. And, you know, anyone that's struggling, like, you know, talk to someone, talk to us, you know, like, just, because there is a path forward. There is a way to stop drinking. And I was mentioning earlier, like, we were born without that blueprint in our minds of how to live life. You know, we found what we thought the solution was, but the Alcoholics Anonymous program has a book. You know, we call it like the big book. It's kind of like a Bible for alcoholics. And, you know, if you read that book and you do what it says, you know, that's your guideline. That's your instruction booklet. That's your blueprint for living, you know. And, you know, it works for me because apparently I was born without one. So, you know, I I just really believe that if you follow that book, you know, it's like a textbook. If you study it, you're going to pass the test. You know?
Yeah. If you want what either of us have, like for me, if you want what I have, I did the 90-90 meetings that they said. I did more. I did the sponsor. I still have a sponsor today. I still do 2, 3, 4 meetings a week over the last 5 years, and did the steps. I do the steps. I have a sponsee now. Like, all of the things that they said if you want sobriety, you need to do all this. Yeah. And I went, okay. Like, I made that decision at the start, and I continued with that, and it has really served me well. And I do service too, and I love service.
Well, it just becomes a part of who you are, just like how drinking was a part of how you were. You know, like, drinking dictated my life and everything revolved around it. But now everything, you know, revolves around recovery. And you know, I'm so grateful to have learned all that and to continue to learn about it. Yeah, it's such an amazing thing. And, excuse me. It doesn't, like, I've already been there. I've done it. Like, what more is there to experience in that life with alcohol? You know, I've tried every one. You know, I've drank here, I've drank there. Like,
you've tried every version.
Yeah. Like, I'm not missing out on anything anymore. You know, yeah, when I was 19 or 20, I had this fear of missing out, and I wanted to be at every party, or I wanted to be, you know, in this country doing this and that and the other, and drinking while I was doing it. But now, I mean, I've done all that. The bucket list now is just to just, you know, stay in this healthy place. And, you know, I can accomplish so much more in my life now that I don't have that, the shackles of my active alcoholism dragging me down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So have you had how many, like, do you have the same sponsor you've had since you started?
No, I have my second sponsor.
Okay. So
Um,
this is your number two.
yeah.
And how many years have you had this one?
I think about 2 years now.
Oh yeah.
So
So it's okay to change sponsors.
yeah. Oh, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
Like, you're not married to your sponsor.
That's good.
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes in life, things change, and maybe you just need a fresh set of eyes and ears to help you out, and that's just life, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's kind of part of it. I don't think that your sponsor who you're you know breaking up with, they're not going to be upset. I mean, it's just
Right. Yeah, it's okay to stop the relationship.
yeah, and I mean
To
it doesn't.
change it or take a break or back down. Like,
Yeah,
it's okay. And I do think there's a lot of fear around that when you're early.
yeah,
People are like, "Oh, what am I going to do?" But your sponsor can probably handle it.
yeah. And if they're working a good program, they can definitely handle it. And
Yeah,
if they
yeah,
don't,
exactly.
if they can handle it, well, they probably weren't the right sponsor.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very important. And there's always, whenever I'm in a state of confusion of how to go about things, you know, I can talk to my sponsor, and it's like,
Make sense of
yeah,
the thought that you had.
yeah,
And that brings us back to like the small things, like changing the neuro pathways. Like, do you find like your sponsor really helps you with that?
yeah, of course. And
Yeah.
they have a different, they're looking at it from an outside. You might have a conflict with someone. Your sponsor is like this third party, and they might let you know, like, okay, well, this conflict you're having, did you think about this with this person? Did you think
Mm-hmm.
about that? Like, did you think about how they might feel? Um, so, it kind of, a sponsor for me usually kind of makes me look outside myself from a distance, and to see where, what is my part in this,
Right. And the sponsor isn't emotionally invested like you might be in that
Yeah,
relationship, whether it's work or parent or whatever, right?
yeah,
So they're not coming from this emotional place where you might be, right, in
mhm,
that moment. And then because sometimes that can mess us up.
yeah,
And it's like to have that outside view, just sort of simplify it,
mhm,
takes all that like turmoil away.
mhm,
And because it takes time to think. It's like you're emotionally regulating too. I find, like, when you talk to someone, you start to calm back down,
yep,
get your head back on, and then get that extra point of view of the situation,
yeah.
right?
And before you react in this conflict or whatever it might be, you talk to your sponsor. And if your sponsor doesn't pick up, because they might be busy,
Mm-hmm.
call your next friend in recovery. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you got to have a,
Keep working at it.
yeah, you got to have a list of people that you can talk to, right? And that's the great thing, is there's so many different types of people that you can hang out with in these rooms, but that can help you.
Mm-hmm.
But we all have the same disease, right? We all have the
Mm-hmm.
same goal, and that's staying sober and getting sober. And so, there's going to be someone in a room that has either gone through or is going through the same issue as you.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the meeting before the meeting, where everyone's kind of hanging out in the parking lot outside the building, and then there's the meeting after the meeting, where you're hanging out outside again, and that's where some of the best solutions, you'll hear, like, in those environments, the before meeting and the after meeting,
Right.
and that's
Right.
just hanging out and just, being, I can talk to someone in AA that I hardly know,
Mm-hmm.
you know, uh, but I hear them say something in a meeting, and then it's like, after the meeting, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go talk to this person, and they'll help me with some kind of life problem. I mean, it's amazing to do that with a complete stranger.
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
be like walking around the mall.
Bernard's, or sorry, yeah, walking around the mall.
Yeah, and just ask some random person about how do you fix this in my life? Like, they're gonna run away, or they're gonna just wonder what the heck's wrong with you, you know, like.
Yeah, and you have like the commonality of the room.
Yeah.
Right?
Like, you can't just run up to random people in the street and go, "Hey, are you an alcoholic by chance? Can you help me with this issue?" Like, you know, but you can do
You can
that.
try, but you
Yeah.
might get arrested.
But but you can
I'm really
do
looking
that.
for an alcoholic.
Yeah. But you
Yeah.
can. I could just see someone yelling out, "Is anyone an alcoholic? Can you help me?"
Yeah.
But no, you can do that in a meeting, and it's so nice to have that. Um, just to have that help, right?
Yeah, and I love it. Yeah, so it's like highly encouraged to like come before and after the meeting if you can, and then say you like do have that problem that's in you, and like that's the thing. Like in recovery, it's like getting those secrets out, getting that truth out, and like maybe you didn't get something from the meeting, but you hear something from someone, and then you can just still bring that issue to someone like after that meeting, like maybe that you didn't get to talk to the sponsor, but because you're around the herd, someone in the herd is probably going to be able to help you, right? And then getting that secret out, getting that thing out that you need to talk about, and like acknowledging that there's something going on and I need help with it. I find a lot of people have a hard time with like asking for help and trying to talk stuff out to people because they're worried about being a burden, but it's not the case. Like I think most people want to help.
That's the whole point of it, you know. Like step 12 is about, you know, carrying the message, passing it along, and helping the addict and the alcoholic that needs it, right? That's the whole, you know, that's the final step, and that's the step that we just do every day, you know. Like hopefully someone maybe is watching this and, you know, it helps them with something, right? It's you kind of never know when you could be making a difference in someone else's life. And, you know, I think that during active alcoholism and addiction, the shame and the guilt is usually so bad that, you know, it's
they're like enmeshed.
Yeah, and it's really hard to ask for help, you know. So the courageous thing isn't to just keep going and trying to do it on your own, and you know, just through sheer tyranny of will try and stop. The courage is when you actually like kind of lay the weapons down, stop fighting it, and join the winning team and ask for help, right? You know, that's the courageous part. And you've got a huge army behind you, you know, AA, NA, all these programs, they're all over the world, you know. I've been in meetings in different countries. Like it's amazing, you know. I was at a meeting one time, and there was a fellow there who didn't speak any English, and he was from Germany, but he was in the meeting because he knew kind of like what was being said, even though he couldn't understand it. Well, after the meeting, this guy went up to him, and he could speak German. So then the two of them they almost like had their own little meeting in the parking lot, you know. So like things like that are so cool. And you know, that's the thing with meetings. It's once you get going, like it's not like recovery. Like I'll be talking to someone in the parking lot before the meeting about maybe the hockey game last night, you know. Like it's not, you become friends and you do talk about other things, and you know, you know, it's not like being in recovery and going to meetings is all you're ever going to talk about the rest of your life. You know, it'll probably, you know, but it's, you know, you can it allows you to get back into your passions, right? And it allows you to maybe like play sports that you had given up, and it allows you to talk about things with people that aren't, you know, just about how messed up you are, or you know, it's really a beautiful thing. Recovery has just opened up so many doors, and not just new doors, but reopened old ones, right? That I kind of shut, you know. So.
And I'm like a firm believer, like that whole talking after the meeting, it's not all doom and gloom. It's not always about the problems. You're not always talking about recovery. And like, it's just talking with other people that, you know, about the sports game or whatever, because I'm a firm believer that like spirituality is connection. Right. So like people being a part of a team and sharing that we're on the same team and we're getting to know each other and we're helping each other, that is spiritual.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and that recovery gives you that. Like I get that spirituality in my recovery program to help me beat my addictions.
Yeah. Connection is the opposite of addiction.
Yeah.
Like, I said it, I think during part 1 of our chats, that, the disease just wants to get you alone.
Yeah.
So that you have no connection with anyone or anything other than yourself and the disease. Right. And it's just, that's a horrible place to be. And I've been there.
Well, think about it. Like, it is so much easier to control someone that's isolated in their own thinking by themselves, that's too scared to ask for help. You know what I mean? Like, that's a dangerous place to be, because you're weaker. But when I'm connected and I'm not using all my own strength, I'm going to last longer. It's just like I've created a web, a network of people, and that's where the strength comes in for my recovery, is like it's the other people, the source, my higher power, like whatever my higher power is to me. Like, so I didn't, my recovery has been mostly connected the whole time, and I think that's like helped me a lot.
Oh yeah.
But it's I think like I've gone a week without a meeting, but I mean, it is insane how I can feel it.
Oh yeah.
I can just, it goes against my recovery now. It's like, I got to be back in there. Like, it just feels safer. And I don't know, it's more, the more you're connected, you're just, the protection comes in for you. It doesn't take my effort as much. Like, it,
it just becomes, it's so natural, that's a wonderful thing. But you can definitely feel it when I'm like, oh, I need to go to a meeting. Like, like I said, if I'm feeling bad, then I should go to a meeting. And even if I'm feeling really, really good, because I don't want to, get complacent. Right. So yeah. Oh, I was going to say something. I forget now, but anyway.
Yeah. It's, excitement is a huge thing too. Like, when I was in my active addiction, like, I drank for when it was a Friday, when it was a celebration. I drank when it was doom and gloom. And so, like, in my recovery, I know that I'm at risk also when my emotions are on high.
Yeah.
When I'm in a celebratory, mood. And it's, basically, by staying like humble would be like saying I'm still at risk, even though I'm happy and things are good.
Yeah.
So like, staying humble would be like, I still go to my meetings even though I'm doing good in my life.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I still go because I still honor the power of addiction.
Oh yeah, you have to. It's the most powerful thing. It's, it's more powerful than love, because, whether it's you have kids or
That's a strong statement.
Well, it's
but
like,
it's very,
like, if we wouldn't do it in like, no one would drink. There's a saying that someone, well, in our lives, that's pretty special, but she said that she would run into a burning building to save her kids, but she would have to have a drink first.
Oh, someone said that. Oh.
Right, and that's kind of,
that's
it's I think it's pretty accurate in most cases, or some cases.
Right. It really shows the power of the disease.
Yeah.
That makes me think of something. Like, I used to always give myself this excuse in early recovery, be like, oh, I'll never drink again. Like, maybe I shouldn't say this. I used to give myself, okay, well, I used to say, oh, if my kids die, I'm definitely going to drink again. And it was about the 2-year mark where I would think my recovery, just from working it steadily, like, I didn't do anything extravagant, just did what they said. But it's almost like after 2 years, I noticed that thing I said to myself started to disappear, and today I don't feel like that.
Yeah.
Like today, and just after continually working the program, I'm not gonna do anything that's gonna. I don't want to. Like I don't give myself that excuse to. I will go back to drinking if this awful thing happens to me. I just say today I choose to do all my recovery because I love and honor my recovery. I love my recovery. I'm loyal to my recovery, and that loyalty pays off.
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say, I guess.
Well,
things change in you over time if you just continue.
And it might sound crazy to someone who's not an addict or an alcoholic, but like, I think the thought that, oh, if this person died, whether it's a child or your parents or your best friend, you know, I would probably drink if they, you know, guess what? It's not going to help the situation.
And you don't know.
Like,
you don't know that.
if someone passes away and you decide to drink, you're making it all about yourself, you know, and you know, your family needs you to be there for them, right?
You're setting yourself up for failure.
Exactly. And then meanwhile, you're getting so loaded that not only are they grieving this person that passed away, but they have to be worried about you because you're doing things that aren't, you know, conducive to this whole feeling that everyone has. And, you know, they don't want to be worried about what you're doing to destroy your life when they have to, you know, keep themselves strong to get through this devastating loss, you know. So I mean, you're just, and that's the selfishness of alcoholism is, you know, oh, someone died, great, I can drink now. Like, perfect excuse, you know.
Yeah, just waiting for that excuse to go back.
Yeah.
Right. It's almost got to be like a complete, like a good step one, a complete, like, hope, like, I mean, people do relapse, but like, it does really help to do a really good step one.
Oh, yeah.
It makes a difference. It can really help with your next step. Like, it's not like we're doing 12 steps in one day. It's like you just do one thing after the other. So I think we're getting close to the end of our show here for this episode. So yeah, recovery in all your affairs, the little things help, and to walk the walk. Hey. Well, thank you for being here, Adam. And yeah, thanks guys for being here. We appreciate it, and see you at the next one. Bye.